Hello everybody and welcome to the Culinary Nexus. Today I'm going to be making my family's tomato sauce recipe. What you're going to need is some good extra virgin olive oil, fresh garlic, tomato paste, tomato sauce, basil, bay leaves, chicken broth, and salt and pepper. Now let's get cooking. When you make a sauce like this, you're going to want a fairly heavy-duty saucepan, something that's got a decent thickness to it, and also a good investment would be to get a heat diffuser. You can get these online. They range anywhere from under $10 up to $30. What this is going to do is diffuse the heat from the gas stove to the pot so that when you're cooking, it's not going to scorch the bottom of your pan. You can walk away from it and you still have to stir it, but you won't have to be there constantly stirring the sauce. It gives you a little bit of a cushion. So we're going to add some olive oil to the bottom of the pan. Start the stove up. Okay, so the olive oil's in the pan and it's getting nice and hot, so now I'm going to add the garlic. What you're going to want to do is lightly cook this garlic until it starts to brown a little bit. This could take a little bit. You're not really sauteing the garlic. What you're doing is infusing the oil with the flavor of the garlic. A lot of people cook their sauce differently. Some people at this point would add pork bone or some kind of meat scrap, steak, what have you, so that it would infuse the sauce with that flavor. But you don't have to. My family would typically just keep this as simple as possible. Keeping food simple is how you keep the flavors good and not messed up. You don't want to burn the garlic, you just want a light bit of color. I'm using organic tomato paste today. You don't have to, but I do like it. When you add the tomato paste, turn your heat down a little bit. You do want to cook the tomato paste just a little bit, but lightly. If you don't watch, you can burn your sauce. Stir this around a little bit. For 1 can of tomato paste, you need to add 3 cans of water. And with each addition of water, you should stir it in so that it evens out the sauce. Number 2. That would be number 3. At this point your heat should be about medium. The reason you start with the tomato paste is you want to start with the thickest tomato product first and then work your way backwards. That way when you get up to the sauce, which is next, it's more evenly mixed. You won't have a big glob of tomato paste that you're adding after you add the sauce. Now we'll add both cans of tomato paste, or tomato sauce. With each can of sauce, you add 1 can of water. Tomato sauce is an all-day ordeal. This is not something you just do and have it done instantly. You have to cook and reduce. Okay. Now you're going to want to add about 2 cups of chicken broth. Next, we're going to add a nice teaspoon of basil. Whenever you use dried herbs, make sure that you rub them between your hands to make sure that they're turned into powder. A couple shakes of black pepper. And a couple bay leaves. And that's pretty much it. At this point, you just have to let it come to a simmer. I'll put the lid on this and check back. In about 20 minutes it should be getting close to simmer, and then it's got to cook for, you put this on low at this point. Low to 3, don't go higher than a 3. And just let it go for some time. Okay, next, while the sauce is cooking, we're going to prepare the meatballs. What you need is something you get at the grocery store. It's called meatloaf mix. It is ground pork, ground veal, and ground beef. If you want to omit the veal, you can. You can just use ground pork and ground beef. Never make a meatball out of just ground beef. It's not going to taste anywhere what you want it to taste like. Also, you're going to need garlic powder, basil, parsley. These are all dried. You can use fresh if you wish. I wouldn't recommend using fresh garlic. The garlic powder mixes in easier with the meat. But you could use fresh basil or fresh parsley if you so chose. 1 egg, some Parmesan cheese, breadcrumbs, salt and pepper. Okay, let's get to work. Okay, in one bowl you want to combine the egg, about a teaspoon of garlic powder, basil, again about a teaspoon, pinch of salt. It's always good to mix your herbs up separate. That way it's going to combine with the meat. And we mix the meat. Now add the egg to the meat. And use a fork if you can. The trick to a good meatball is that you never over mix it. You mix it with your hands and get in there a little too hard. It'll become tough and chewy. Now we're going to add a nice handful of Parmesan cheese. And these are seasoned breadcrumbs. You don't want to have too much, but you got to make sure you have enough. Now the way we make our meatballs is, what we're going to do is dip your hands in some water, grab a spoon, make a smaller meatball, not a big giant one, and get some chicken stock boiling on the stove. And what we're going to do is drop these in and let them boil a little bit. When you boil meatballs instead of baking them, you'll get a fairly nice round meatball. Also, the good thing is when you're doing this, you're gonna boil out some of the fat. So these aren't gonna be very greasy at all. Not only that, but the chicken stock also adds flavor to the meatball. Water helps your hands from getting too messy, so that you're not going to be all disgusting. Remember that when you add to the pot, the more you add, the more the temperature is going to go down, the longer they're going to take to cook. So just keep an eye on the amount it's simmering. And if it starts to cool off, you'll know because it won't be boiling as fast. You just want to kind of stir them around a little bit. Make sure that they're cooking. When you see most of the pink go away, they can go in the sauce because they're going to continue cooking in that red sauce because we're going to take them from here, put them in the red sauce. And they'll keep cooking and absorbing all that flavor from the sauce and adding flavor to the sauce. Transfer them to the tomato sauce. We keep making more until we're done. And this should finish the meatballs, and then they're just going to sit in the sauce and cook. And the sauce is going to reduce. And in a couple couple hours, everything will be ready. So this kettle is spinning like crazy. Okay. I would put this on probably a little bit askew so that it's not going to boil. And then turn it down to, I would say, about 3 to low, depending on how fast you want it to reduce. If you have all day, put it on low. If you want to speed it up a little bit, go to number 3. Each stove is different though, so keep that in mind. Okay, it's been several hours now, and as you can see, the sauce has reduced almost an inch in depth. And it's a fairly nice thickness. For me, this is kind of how I like my sauce of this consistency. If you want, you could continue to cook this sauce for another hour or so, or even more, a couple more, and keep reducing it down. And it's going to become more stronger and thicker as it reduces, as the water evaporates. Now I'm going to make some penne. So over here, with some lightly salted water that is boiling, and I'm going to add penne to it. This will take about 10 minutes. Okay, the pasta's been boiling for almost 10 minutes now.